hope everybody had an amazing weekend. Once again, I hope you're feeling blessed and manifested. Hope you've been keeping your heads held high, walking the fiery line, trying to do that which is right. We're not perfect beings, right? Maybe we need to give each other some grace and some understanding with everything that's going on in the world, right? I wanted to come in this week. I wanted to start the week off. We are going to do a weekly review, but I wanted to just drop like a quick little alpha bomb real quick in reference to settlement price. And so y'all know how important the settlement price, right? You see, we got settlement on, right? So what we're looking at is that settlement price that is set by the exchange, by the CME, right? Nonetheless, right, what happens is when we have a new month that starts in the middle of the week, okay, what's the most recent example of that? That would be Wednesday, July 1st. You see here, we got the week of June 29th, Monday, June 29th until Friday, July 3rd, where Wednesday, July 1st is in the middle of the week, right? Excuse me. And so what we have here is this week is a June week, and it is also considered what? The last week in June, right? And so you see here, we have the settlement labeled settlement last week of June in 2026, right? 29,556, okay? What's interesting about this is that we have two settlement prices to consider, okay? When we go to the daily, okay, this settlement, excuse me, okay, it's off a little bit, excuse me, from the weekly, just a smidgen right there, okay? So the settlement, right, for Tuesday, June 30th, the last day of the month of June, right, is actually 3523.50, right? And so what happens is we end up with two settlement prices that we have to consider, right, going into the next quarter, because that you know, from June to July, excuse me, from June to July, that is the start of a new 6-month period and the start of a new 3-month period, or a new quarter, right? So that is a very, very important settlement price, right? And you can see since then we've been trading below, right? We've been trading below the settlement for the previous half of the year, right? And so we've gone down, and here's the month of July, and its average monthly range, right, where we have the low at 27,909, and we have 25% more, right? So another 25% of the monthly range is right here at 27,241. You see how we went down there and tapped that where? At the end of the month, right? So from the start of July, we worked our way down all the way through the discount levels, okay, all the way through the projected monthly low. And on the very last day of the month, we are 1 1/4 deviations past the average monthly range low for July. We also know that number is what? An average yearly range level, right? 27,228, right? Nonetheless, what you're looking at is, why is that pertinent? It's very pertinent because of what happened last week. Okay, so when we consider last week, what we have is Friday, August 7th, okay, so for what? The week of August 3rd to August 7th, we have what? A weekly closing overlap above what? The last week of June settlement, 29,556, right? But when we go within that weekly candle, we can see what? Here is the most recent closing overlap above that key level, right? And so last week, that was the swing traders entry, okay, where they would have entered right at the key level, right? Predetermined entry, predetermined stop, predetermined profit target. You see how we do that, right? You say we go back to the quarterly open at 580.75, but don't be a dick about the ticks, right? Let me see here. Let's make sure it's actually it's on point, right? So what is it? 2350. Okay, and the entry is 556, right? Okay, and so a 10-to-1, right, for a swing trader. Nice little 10-to-1. You're risking 100 handles. You're gonna get 101 handles, and you're gonna get 967.50, right? So a very precise mechanism, that close and overlap, ain't it? Okay, playing it from the daily chart, risking 100 handles. Some of y'all risk 100 handles on the 1 minute chart. And here's 101 handles that you could have taken from what? The daily, using what? Close and overlap. So let's talk about the discount level, right? It didn't come back and retest, but you see why. It's already been there, right? On the weekly, this is the first time that we do what? Get back above the last week of June settlement. You understand that? You see how it's here? We gap up the very last week, right? Close below. So there's a close and overlap, right? Close and overlap is invalidated with this close and overlap. And we know what? The bias, the narrative, all that is bullish, right? And so last week we do what? We come down and tap, right? So we go back to the daily, and we can see that very clearly, right? Very interesting timing with this thing as well, right? This is the first week of the month of August that does what? Gives a bullish order flow, or gives a bullish indication that what? We're going to be seeking higher prices, right? And so that's a very simple thing to understand, right? You got the settlement for the last day of the month, right? So that is the monthly settlement right here, 3523.50. But because that first of the month is on a Wednesday, right? The last week of that month has a different settlement price, right? And then we showed you how to trade it, right? And then considering what? The closing overlap above what? The 12.5% discount level for quarter three, 30,051. We got a closing overlap above that level last week. Might we retest at some point this week and that be an entry? Okay. We go back to the daily. We'll see how that may work out, right? If you're a PD array trader, there is your busy that you would consider, right? And considering that this is the key level, okay, maybe you gradient this wick, right? Maybe you gradient your wick and you find your entry there. Maybe you don't want it to go past CE of the wick, right? 3083.50, right? However it is that you find yourself entering the trade, we've given you a good idea of what the anticipated price action will be for this week. That's it. I'm out until the weekly review.